The throne room of the Valyrian Empire stretched 300 meters from entrance to dais, its crystalline walls refracting light into dancing patterns that had intimidated diplomats for 1,000 years. Captain Marcus Reed stood at the entrance, his worn flight jacket looking decidedly out of place among the polished armor of the Royal Guard. He had been summoned. 3 weeks had passed since he pulled the escape pod from the debris field near the Kilo system. 3 weeks since he opened the hatch and found Princess Lyra of Valeria inside, unconscious and bleeding from wounds that would have killed most beings. 3 weeks since he patched her up in his cramped medical bay and listened to her story of betrayal, of assassins who had infiltrated her diplomatic convoy. Marcus had done what any decent person would do. He kept her safe, contacted her people through secure channels, and delivered her home. He expected a thank you, maybe a reward, and then he would return to his cargo runs along the frontier. He did not expect this. The guards flanked him as he walked the length of the throne room, their ceremonial spears held at precise angles. His boots echoed against the polished floor. At the far end, elevated on a platform that seemed to touch the ceiling itself, sat Empress Celesta, supreme monarch of the Valyrian Empire, keeper of the 7 suns, and about 24 other titles Marcus had not bothered to memorize. She was terrifying. The Empress wore robes that shifted color with each breath, technology so advanced it might as well have been magic. Her crown floated above her head, suspended by forces Marcus could not begin to understand. Her eyes, violet and ancient, fixed on him as he approached, and he felt the weight of her gaze like a physical thing. Beside the throne stood Princess Lyra. She looked different now, dressed in formal attire rather than the torn flight suit she had worn on his ship. But her eyes were the same, and when she saw him, she smiled. Marcus stopped at the prescribed distance and bowed. He had looked up proper protocol during the journey here. The Valyrians appreciated respect, even from humans. "Captain Marcus Reed," the Empress said, her voice carrying effortlessly across the vast chamber. "You stand before the throne of Valeria." "Your Majesty," Marcus replied, straightening. His mouth felt dry. He had faced down pirates, navigated asteroid fields, and once talked his way out of an arrest warrant on 3 different worlds. None of that prepared him for this moment. "My daughter tells me you saved her life." Marcus glanced at Lyra, who nodded encouragingly. "I did what anyone would do, Your Majesty." "No." The single word cut through the air like a blade. The Empress leaned forward slightly. "That is where you are wrong, Captain Red. Most would not have stopped. The debris field where you found her was in contested space. The risk of encountering hostile forces was significant. Most traders would have calculated the danger and continued on their route." Marcus shifted his weight. "With respect, Your Majesty, I saw a distress beacon. I couldn't just ignore it." "But you could have," the Empress countered. "You had cargo to deliver, deadlines to meet, a business to maintain. Yet you stopped. You risked your ship, your livelihood, your life for a stranger." "She wasn't a stranger for long," Marcus said. "Once I knew who she was and what had happened, I couldn't exactly drop her off at the nearest station." Lyra spoke up, her voice warm. "He kept me hidden for 6 days, Mother. The assassins were searching every port, every vessel. Captain Reed falsified his logs, created elaborate cover stories, and once pretended I was his hired mechanic when inspectors boarded his ship." The Empress turned her gaze to her daughter, then back to Marcus. "The penalty for harboring a fugitive member of the royal family, even with good intentions, can be severe." Marcus felt his stomach tighten. "I wasn't aware of that particular law, Your Majesty." "Ignorance is not typically an acceptable defense," the Empress said. She stood, and the room seemed to hold its breath. She descended from the dais with measured steps, her robes flowing behind her. The guards tensed, but did not move. She stopped directly in front of Marcus, close enough that he could see the faint lines around her eyes, the slight graying at her temples that even advanced technology could not fully hide. She studied him with an intensity that made him want to look away, but he held her gaze. "My daughter also tells me," the Empress continued, her voice softer now, "that you treated her injuries yourself, that you shared your limited food supplies with her, giving her the better portions, that when she asked why you were helping her, you said it was because everyone deserves a chance to go home." Marcus remembered that conversation. It had been late in the ship's night cycle. Lyra had been recovering, sitting in his co-pilot chair, and she had looked so lost. "It's true," he said. "Everyone should get to go home." The Empress was quiet for a long moment. Then, to Marcus's complete shock, she smiled. It transformed her face, made her look younger, more like her daughter. "Do you know what the penalty is for saving the life of a royal heir, Captain Red? I'm hoping it's less severe than harboring one." Lyra laughed, a sound like silver bells, and the tension in the room broke slightly. The Empress gestured, and a side door opened. A procession of attendants entered, carrying items Marcus could not immediately identify. "The penalty," the Empress said, "is that you must accept our gratitude, whether you wish to or not. The Valyrian Empire does not forget its debts, Captain Red, and we do not take the safety of our heirs lightly." The first attendant presented a small chest. The Empress opened it, revealing a crystal that pulsed with inner light. "This is a trade certificate, granting you preferential status in all Valyrian space. Your cargo will receive priority docking. Your business will be protected under imperial law." Marcus stared at the crystal. He knew what such a certificate meant. It could change everything about his operation, turn his struggling freight business into something truly profitable. The second attendant stepped forward with a data pad. "This contains access codes to the Valyrian shipyards," the Empress continued. "Your vessel, while functional, is outdated. We will upgrade your systems at no cost. Engines, shields, life support, weapons if you desire them." "Your Majesty, I don't know what to say." "You need not say anything," the Empress replied. "These gifts come with no strings attached, no obligations. You are free to continue your life as you choose." Lyra stepped down from the dais, approaching her mother and Marcus. "But we hope," she said gently, "that you might choose to visit from time to time. It would be nice to have a friend out there who sees me as a person first and a princess second." Marcus looked at the young woman he had pulled from the void, remembered how she had helped him repair a faulty thruster coupling despite her injuries, how she had laughed at his terrible jokes during the long hours in hyperspace. "I'd like that," he said. The Empress placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder, a gesture so simple and human that it made Marcus realize that beneath the crowns and titles, they were just a mother and daughter. "The universe is vast, Captain Red, and it can be cruel. But it is also full of people like you, who choose kindness when they could choose indifference, who risk safety for principle, who remember that every life has value." She extended her hand, a human gesture she clearly had learned for this moment. Marcus took it, and her grip was firm. "Thank you," she said, "for bringing my daughter home, for being the kind of person who stops for a stranger." "Thank you," Marcus replied, "for raising the kind of daughter who helped fix my ship even when she probably should have been resting." Lyra grinned. "That coupling was a disaster. I couldn't let you fly around with that kind of sloppy wiring." The Empress released his hand and stepped back. "You are welcome in the Valyrian Empire, Marcus Reed, today, tomorrow, and all the days to come. You have earned a friend in this corner of the galaxy, and we do not forget our friends." The formal audience was ending. Marcus could sense it. The guards straightened, the attendants stepped back. But as he turned to leave, Lyra called out to him. "Marcus?" He looked back. "Fly safe out there." He smiled. "Always do, Your Highness." As he walked back down the length of the throne room, the gifts secured by attendants who would deliver them to his ship, Marcus felt something he had not felt in a long time. Not just satisfaction at a job well done, though there was that. Not just relief at the rewards, though those were significant. He felt hope. Hope that maybe the universe was not as cold as it sometimes seemed. Hope that doing the right thing still mattered. Hope that somewhere in the vast darkness of space, there were others like him, making the choice to stop, to help, to care. Behind him, he heard the Empress speaking quietly to her daughter, though the acoustics of the room carried the words. "You were right about him, Lyra. I told you, Mom. Humans are special. They don't always see it themselves, but they are." Marcus stepped out into the bright sunlight of Valeria Prime, his ship waiting in the distance, and for the first time in years, he felt like maybe he was exactly where he was supposed to be,